Our guest today is Jim Parkman. This was a huge case. I mean, this was the fourth largest accounting fraud in the history of the United States.
The CEO of HealthSouth, the Fortune 500 healthcare company.
Ferrari Enzo was nearly obliterated in the high-speed crash along the PCH.
Enzo, ST150S.
He went from being on the Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Only going to make 3 for the United States.
Parkman Khan, former exotic car dealer turned #1 FBI's most wanted fugitive.
Generally, when you look at the law, 90% of the time it's against you.
The FBI put a $20,000 reward for information into his arrest.
Parkman Khan scammed super rich customers at a New Jersey car dealership.
Join myself and James Parkman, my attorney and best friend, as we have cars, courts, and conversations.
Okay. All right. Welcome to the first episode of Parkman Khan Unleashed. Cars, courts, and conversations, where we talk about everything from cars, courtrooms, to whatever's happening in the world, to, you know what, whatever's on our mind today. And I'm introducing you to Jim Parkman, my friend. I call my older brother. I owe my life to this man. One of the top lawyers in America. Actually, I consider one of the best lawyers in America. And then me. Former car dealer, been in the car business since I was 18, done millions upon millions of dollars worth of sales, and then was the FBI's most wanted fugitive, and now I'm a free man.
And that would be a good story one that we will have to get into, because that is
we're gonna have to get.
We're gonna have to do that in the future. But I'd like to,
that's another day.
I'd like to start off today, if I could, if you don't mind, Bobby, with. People don't know you and I really, and they don't know about our friendship and how long, 20 years, 18 years, or whatever it's been that you and I have been friends and everything, and how gracious you've been. And for example, people don't know that, that you are and your family, all your family are just gracious people. For example, 4 months ago, you asked me, you moved to Las Vegas.
Absolutely. Sin City.
And you love it out there. And, and I hadn't been back to Las Vegas in a while, and you asked me to come out and visit on the 4th of July, and we were going to cook out and do some things, and
hang out by the pool,
watch the fireworks, hang out at the pool all day, which by the way was a heat wave in Las Vegas, if you can believe that.
It was only 120 degrees, but it's dry.
120 degrees, and let me say the pool felt wonderful, and. But when you have a friend like that and they ask you to come out there, not only does he ask me to come out there, he says, Jim, look, when you get to the airport, I'm going to pick you up. And that's service. That's just unbelievable.
Yeah, he's service.
That's service.
For the
that's
best player in the world.
And so we arrived about noon, because we gained some time coming in from Atlanta, and we get out. I've got my wife, my lovely wife, and my son, and they're hungry. I'm hungry. We haven't eaten anything. They don't give you food on an airplane anymore. And so, we get out, and Bobby goes very graciously, said, y'all hungry? And we all go, at one time, said, yeah. And he said, well, let me take you to lunch. Great. When you go to Las Vegas, what do you think about, folks? You think about shows, you think about gambling, you think about neon lights and the city and the big buildings and the casinos and the fountains and all of this. And then you throw in there the food. You've got all these places.
The best food in the world.
Huh?
We got the best food in the world.
Best food in the world. And you've got all the chefs that are known by everybody that are there, that have restaurants. And so Bobby says, you hungry? Yeah, we're hungry. And he said, I'm going to take you to lunch. And, I'm thinking, man, this is going to be great. We're going to go to a top-notch restaurant, shrimp cocktail, have a little drink with little umbrellas in it, That wasn't where he took me. We end up...
Listen, you said flashing lights. I took you to a place that had a huge sign that you could see from a mile away, and it was neon.
Yes, you did. In the middle of the day, too. It wasn't just at night. It was in the middle of the day at noon.
Exactly.
Yes. And
it was the best restaurant in town.
He took us so people will wonder where this is. No, it wasn't the Bellagio. No, it wasn't.
It was behind.
Wasn't Caesar's Palace. No. It was a place that you drive in hamburger joint. And pulled in, and I'm thinking, this is where I'm going to eat lunch, and Las Vegas is a drive-in hamburger joint. I said, what kind of friend is this?
But we didn't drive in. We parked. We went
parked.
inside.
Okay, so they had a few tables inside, and
like seating for 200. But okay,
this is my story. Okay, and,
okay.
And of course, this is the truth. I waited. You don't get service at a table. You have to wait in line. This is like McDonald's. This is McDonald's of Las Vegas. Okay, folks. So I'm waiting
but the
in
best
line
burgers ever.
Yeah, to get an order in for a hamburger and a milkshake. I'm there for 2 hours. I'm about to pass out from lack of food. And finally we get up to the register, and I asked them, I said, what's the menu? And they went, a hamburger and a milkshake. And I went, okay, let me have that. And so
Can you guess the restaurant?
I did. And so I'm going to name the restaurant because I'm honest to say it was the In-N-Out Burger, which we do not have on the East Coast that I'm aware of.
You're not lucky.
And I will honestly say, probably the best hamburger I've ever had.
Hands down.
And it was delicious. Don't get me wrong. It was.
The wait was 7 minutes. The burger was great, and you had fries, and the milkshake was great.
It was wonderful. We sat in air conditioning. That was number one that I thought was great.
That's big in the desert.
Because it was 120 outside. But I guess the moment that I realized what a great deal it was to go there is we left and nobody got shot in the parking lot. I thought this was.
This isn't Chicago.
I thought not only did I have a really great hamburger, and the milkshake was really good, and the French fries were good too. But not only that, I left with my life. So I'm thinking, this was a great place to go. And I will say, at noon, that place was packed. They had people.
That place is packed at 4 a.m.
I can believe it. And it was delicious, but. Unbelievable that my best friend in the world takes me to a hamburger place in Las Vegas.
And I'll take you again next time you.
I will go. I will go.
Yeah, because every time I land in Vegas, I always have to stop at In-N-Out Burger because when you get off of Tropicana Avenue, it's right there.
It's right there. You can see it, especially with the neon sign blaring in your face.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what? And I recommend if you got you're taking a girl out on a date. That's the first best cheap date you can have. In-N-Out Burger, it'll cost you $25. You got yourself a meal.
Hey, and I will tell you this: the name is right. We were in and out. You're right.
Exactly.
And
in and out,
and safely. So great introduction to your Las Vegas.
Yeah. So let me introduce you guys to Jimmy and I. How we became to know each other. Okay. And so Jimmy's a big car guy. He loves cars. I'm a car guy. I've been in the car business since I was 18. I loved cars since I was born. I think I was born with a toy car. But so 2006, I happened to find myself sitting in a jail cell in Alabama, of all places. And I'm watching TV. I'm watching the news. I have a horrible lawyer. I'm miserable. They won't give me bail. And guess who I see on the evening news? Jim Parkman. Jim Parkman had just won the biggest case, white-collar case in American history, and he got his client off scot-free. And I'm like, who's this guy? And everybody in jail is like, Jim Parkman is the lawyer you need to have. He goes, if you want to win your case, that's the guy you have to hire. And at that time, right at the same time, Jimmy was fighting a case which happened to be involving cars. And it was, if you guys are car people, you know this. If you recall, about 18 years ago, there was an Enzo that was speeding down the Pacific Coast Highway, and it was split in half. We've all seen those pictures. Enzo was sitting in two pieces on the PCH, and Jimmy was defending that guy.
Yeah. And
that was a very cool case, Jimmy.
Oh, it was great. It was great. You throw a Ferrari into my life.
That's it.
And I'm all in. I'm like, okay, yeah. I'm with you. I love it. And, people, I've never said this to anybody, but this is true. I was out there on another case in Los Angeles, and I was eating breakfast with some guys at the Beverly Hilton, and this red Enzo pulls in. Well, I've never really, I've seen them in pictures, never seen one up close. Okay. And when it pulled in, it was like a magnet. It was a magnet. It just sucked me right out the door. Okay.
The front end of that Enzo is just gorgeous. Just look at the fighter.
And the interior, it was just beautiful. So I go out, the guy got out and left and went inside. So I went out to look at the car, okay? Because they're not gonna park this thing anywhere. This is parked out.
Leaving it right up front.
Yeah, this is out front. So I'm looking at the car, and after I get through looking at it, I'm just, just gushing all over myself about this car. I finally go back inside. The guy comes out, gets in the car, cranks it up. Unbelievable sound. Sound like an F-16 jet taking off.
Yeah.
Beautiful car. Ends up being, that was the car and the guy that I ended up representing. And that's the car.
What a small world. Now, you're not based in California. You're based out in Alabama.
Yes.
But how'd you end up with the case?
You know what? I don't really remember. There were several cases I've handled around the United States, and he had read something about it and got in touch with me, and we did the case, and it was just he was a great guy. I love being around him. He was a race car driver for Ferrari, with a team, and they had raced at Sebring and Le Mans, and I could listen to that for hours about 24 hours
of
Le Mans, and that was just unbelievable.
For those of these guys that don't know, what happened with that accident? What happened with the accident, and then what happened? Why did he get charged? And because there was more to it. It wasn't just about getting in an accident. There was more to the story.
No.
What happened?
No, the accident was minor.
Well, he's 200 miles an hour.
Yeah. What had happened is to kind of give a little explanation about the car itself. Somebody with the Las Vegas car show wanted that car, and it was a wheel manufacturer, a famous wheel. I won't tell you who, but a famous wheel manufacturer wanted to borrow the car, put the wheels on there, okay, and
to show the car at sea.
Yeah, the car itself, and that they were going to give these wheels and leave them on the car when they returned them for them loaning the car. And wheels like this they were probably $30,000 worth of wheels. They were great. Okay, they were beautiful.
Yeah.
So they put them on the car, ship the car to Las Vegas. Shark car comes back. He gets the car back. He's out racing. Another car
on the PCH.
Yeah, he was out on PCH Highway. Beautiful highway, by the way. And if you're ever going to want to drive a car 200 miles an hour, that's where you need to be.
That's the place.
Yeah, except you just don't want to do it, with oncoming traffic
at 200 miles an hour.
But I'm not saying to people take your car out there and go run it. No. But he got out there and was racing another car and went over the top of a hill, and the car came off the ground. And when it came back down, the bolts on the wheels broke off, and the wheels came off, and the car crashed and split in two. And in fact, it was like an eighth of a mile.
What it's supposed to do.
Yeah, from where the engine stopped to where the cab stopped. So it was an eighth of a mile, and the photographs are they're not hilarious when you see this car divided like that, but to see the engine back here and the cab up here is remarkable. Yeah. And he gets out, not a mark, nothing broke, no mark, no bruise, no nothing. That's how good this car was, handling this. But
and he jumped into his other car that was following him, which was the McLaren.
And left, and they end up finding him. Well, the story is not about that speeding. That's not the issue.
Yeah.
The issue was he had left Europe and had bought these three cars from a bank and financed them with a bank. And they had a provision in the loan that said you cannot remove these cars from the Europe without having notified the bank ahead of time and giving the place and address and everything you're going to. Well, he had left over there and come to the United States to start a new business over here. And in doing so, he had the three cars shipped in through customs into the United States. Well,
he had another Enzo. He had a black one too.
He had a black and a red Enzo. Yeah.
Okay. And the SLR.
Yeah. And
Yep.
I was like, holy smoke, the guy's got two of these. And by the way, you're a car guy. You can kind of explain what an Enzo was back then. And
Listen, an Enzo was one of the. So back then, in the 2005, 2006 era, there was three cars. It was the Porsche Carrera GT, the Ford GT, the Ferrari Enzo. Those were the cars to have, and the McLaren SLR 4. That was like the thing, and then obviously the Murcielago and stuff. But back then, it wasn't like today where you have all these hypercars and supercars. Back then, it was like that was it. If you were anybody, you had an Enzo, you had a Murcielago, you had this and that. That was it. And so to have an Enzo, which was sticker price, was $650,000, but people were paying $1 million too. And this guy had
why? Tell them about the Enzo.
Yeah,
How
exactly.
many were made?
And then there were 399 cars were made for the world.
399 Enzos made. And he had two of the 399.
And he had two of them. And he had a black one, which is really hard. I mean, that's like a unicorn.
Yeah. And then the red one, which was the Ferrari red with the tan leather.
Obviously,
and the black with the tan leather. So it was, listen, it was a beautiful car. But, the amazing part about it is to me, I kind of chuckled. I was expecting, the insurance agent to show up at the scene and look at the car and go, this is totaled. Y'all have a nice day. He told me, he said, call Ferrari and let's see about rebuilding it. And I was like, yeah, right. So we got in touch with Ferrari over in Italy, and sure enough, they said $300,000, get us all the parts, every part that came off, the engine, the body, everything, ship it to us, we can rebuild the thing. Brand new.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy smoke.
Yep.
There's nobody in America that could have done it.
And that's what they do.
Yeah. And they could have
No, exactly. But that's what Ferrari does. I mean, Ferrari has a whole classique department where basically they'll take old cars, they restore them back to new, and, they certify the car and they put it